democracy look like.
Show me what democracy sounds like.
This is what democracy sounds like.
Show me what democracy sounds like.
This is what democracy sounds like.
All right, I'm Susan Jaworski. I'm from Olive, and I want to thank everyone for coming out today to celebrate our victory. One house, one branch of government. We're going to make the most of it. So we should be proud of the neighbor-to-neighbor grassroots effort behind our win here in New York 19. We put in the work today, and as our new representative, Antonio Delgado in the 116th Congress is getting sworn in right now. It is definitely the time to celebrate. Oh yeah, we'll send him a picture. We'll definitely send him a picture. This is, I just want to make a moment because we've done all this work, but we have to remember, and I know you all know this, is that this is no time for resting. This is our time to speak up, right? I know many of you had conversations with Antonio and the change you were looking for in Washington to make real change that affects people here and families right here in Ulster County. This work is never once and done. Now is the time to be loud, to be at Antonio's back, and to be at the back of our new majority in the House. So let's celebrate and let's be heard. Push them left. All right, push them left. I want to introduce, we have some people here today. I would like to introduce Odell Winfield, one of our most inspirational local activists. Yeah. Someone who understands the impact of neighbor to neighbor and community.
That's right.
He's the founder of NJAN and of New Jim Crow Activist Network, as well as 2 African American Roots libraries, the Sadie Peterson Delaney Roots Library in Poughkeepsie, and the A.J. Williams Myers African Roots Center right down here on Gill Street.
Yes.
So with that, Odell, do you have a few words you want to share with us today?
Sure. I got a couple. No, I don't need that. Number 1, power to the people! Power to the people! This is what democracy look like.
Yes.
This is definitely what democracy look like. As much as we've been fighting around here on different separate issues, this is what it's all about. Working together. Antonio sent some notes to make sure they were said here today. But we gotta realize the Congress that's going in now, they represent us, all of us. And we should be real proud of that. I mean, really proud of that. And I'm, for one, I'm great. I'm really great. I really feel as though, now with some of the local issues that's gonna be taking place, we have enough people now that can really work on some local issues. And I think this is gonna be great. But let me read what Antonio sent.
Can you use the microphone? It's hard to hear.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thanks to everyone for coming out today and for your support for such a critical issue. I'm looking forward to working with you as your representative. I'm strongly supportive of the first bill in Congress addressing the undue influence of money in politics and expanding voting rights. Corporate power is commanding too much. Wait a minute, let me see. Corporate power is commanding way too much attention in Washington. It is time that our government be responsive to the will of the people rather than the interests of the wealthy few and big corporations. Those are his words. Plus, I think. And I would just like to say, we have definitely won this battle, but the war is not over. The war is not over by a long shot. And hopefully we can all continue doing this and what we're doing. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Odell.
All right.
Thank you, Odell. And we have David Clegg joined us here today, and I think it might be nice to hear a few words from David. So, David.
All right, David.
I'm no Odell. I need this, by the way. Yeah. Hey, look, this is like old home week for me, seeing you all out here.
Absolutely.
And it's heartwarming to see that the spirit is still with us, and we need it. So, as Odell said, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Thankfully, we have Antonio in Congress standing up for all the things we believe in. And we're going to be behind him everywhere we can. We want to support him, and we want to push Congress in a way that stops the ridiculous Donald Trump schemes that are going on right now.
Are you running for DA?
Yes, he is.
It's a good chance.
Yes, he is.
It's a good chance.
Yes, he is.
Well, you know, I was just talking to Odell about it. There's no question that it's maybe the most important position in this county and in this country for making equal justice real in our neighborhoods.
That's right. That's right.
And there's been so long. I've been on both sides of this. I've been on the side where I'm working with people in prison in the Rising Hope program, seeing the folks that have been there too long, and seeing what rehabilitation can actually do for folks. On the public defender side, I've been there and seen that equal justice is not what we have in our court system. And it's going back decades. It's going back, you know, for generations, and it's time for that to move on. We have Juan Figueroa now as a sheriff, and that's a big victory. And I was just talking to Juan. He wants a partner. He wants a partner as a DA. So yes, I haven't declared. It's not official and it's not 100% yet, but I'm really moving toward that. I hope, if I do, that I can expect and hope for all of your support in that endeavor. All right, well, thank you. Really, it is heartwarming to be here, and hope you all get warm in the not too distant future. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, David.
HR number one, put corporate power on the run. HR number one, put corporate power on the run. HR number one, put corporate power on the run. HR number one, put corporate power on the run. HR number one, put corporate power on the run. HR number one, put corporate power on the run.
Thank you for the cheers. All right. And a little bit about HR 1. I have Tom Denton from UACT. Tom has been a great activist and motivator all the way around here this year. So thank you very much. Here's Tom.
Thank you, Susan.
Tom.
Okay, HR 1. I'm supposed to tell you about that. It's a little wonky, but anyway. Whose house is this?
Our house!
Our house!
Right.
Today, Congress is putting into office the people we elected to deliver a message to the Trump administration and his enablers. We are taking back our country. We're taking it back with a new understanding that our freedoms are not guaranteed. Our progressive march forward can be reversed, and our people can be turned against each other if we don't fulfill our obligation as citizens. We understand better what democracy requires to survive. Today we're here to do our part. We're here to call out our support for the new Democratic majority as it introduces its first priority bill, HR 1. All right, the first objective of HR 1 is to restore a healthy democracy by bringing fairness to our election process. Consider this: voter suppression by purges from voting rolls, impossibly strict and twisted ID laws, inadequately funded polling sites, and unsecured voting machines. Is this fair?
No!
Hell no! HR 1 aims to renew the Voting Rights Act, which was undermined by our Supreme Court, and to restore safeguards protecting voters' rights. HR 1 will expand the franchise with automatic registration, same-day registration, early voting, and voting rights for those with past convictions. And it will end the kind of partisan gerrymandering that makes it nearly impossible for any challenger to win. Second, H.R. 1 will attack the dark money that pollutes our elections. We know where it comes from. Locally, too. It begins a process of a constitutional amendment that addresses the ills unleashed by the Supreme Court's, we know what it is, Citizens United decision. It will support publicly financed small donations with tax incentives. Small donors like us will require disclosure of all political spending and will require strict separation of candidates and PACs. We know those PACs. We had a good one. We had a good one backing John Faso this past election, didn't we? Yes. The people's voice will not be drowned out by moneyed interests dominating the Washington debate. Finally, remember that swamp that was supposed to be drained? Yes. No worry, the swamp creatures have found better housing in the cabinet and agency offices. Using effective public-minded oversight, H.R. 1 will require full disclosure of potential conflicts of interest, including those revealed by tax returns of you-know-who. It will close the revolving door between lobbyists and government officials, ban members of Congress from serving on for-profit boards, and tighten ethics laws that stop officials from using public service for personal gain. By the way, I read that Ryan Zinke resigned today. Speaking of personal gain, these are changes we demand. At this hour, new House members are taking their oaths, including Antonio Delgado. We call on them and will support their efforts to pass the strongest possible legislation for restoring our democracy. It's been challenged, even battered, over these past 2 years and more. It can be set right by the people and those who represent us. This is a new year. It will begin with H.R. 1 and a bill to reopen government today, and no wall, real or metaphorical.
No wall.
Those of us who are gathered here today, already friends, new friends, are going to see a lot of each other over the next 2 years. It's now our house, our country, and we're taking it back.
All right, Tom, thank you. Do we want to put on a chant here?
Okay. When voting rights are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When democracy is under attack, stand up, fight back.
I have Kathy Aiden here next to me. Kathy is from Indivisible Ulster and has a few words to talk about all the effort you all are planning to do here.
Hi, today we're celebrating the swearing in of our new congressional representative, Antonio Delgado. A long road was traveled by many of us, all of us, to get to this victory for the people in New York's 19th congressional district. In January 2017, inspired by the Indivisible Guide, we began meeting in smaller groups in Ulster County, including Acton, New Paltz, Ulster People, and Rosendale, Move Forward New York and Gardner, Indivisible Ulster, and a number of locations, along with others. Many of us were new to political organizing, but the election of Trump and the Republican control of both houses served as an impetus to step out of our comfort zones and work as hard as we could. We knocked on doors in snow and rain and heat. We made thousands of phone calls. We wrote letters to editors and created election materials. In Kingston, we met every Friday morning to prepare positions to bring to John Faso's office in the meager hope that we could influence him to represent the people of the 19th District rather than the corporate interests who owned him. Every Friday at noon, we were outside FASO's office with our friends from Tin Horn Uprising. And Citizen Action, among many others, letting him know that he was failing to represent his constituents. He was afraid to have public town halls and limited our access to his office. We responded with town halls, one with an empty chair. Another was Sean Patrick Maloney, representative from a neighboring district. We sponsored forums and debates to build voter awareness of our fine Democratic primary candidates, one right here, Tobe, who were all opposing FASO. We wrote letters to editors detailing the rude treatment we received at FASO's office. We built his reputation as no-show FASO.
No-show FASO.
Our work shifted from just opposing FASO to align with other activist groups, unions, working families, parties, local Democratic committees, to elect our local candidates in 2017, turning our Republican-dominated Ulster County legislature and many of our town boards blue. With our now honed skills, we worked to elect Antonio Delgado to Congress along with our 4 outstanding New York State Senate candidates and our Ulster County Sheriff. We worked closely with all the campaigns to present a united and positive front, focused on the local issues and the candidates we cared about. Despite the absurd gerrymandering Ulster County is subject to, we were able to elect 2 state Senate candidates, Jen Metzger and James Skoufis.
Yes!
And finally turn the New York State Senate blue. And we elected by a huge majority Juan Figueroa as our sheriff. Our work is not done, but today as Antonio Delgado is being sworn into the Congress of the United States, we can celebrate that we now have a representative who will truly represent the interests and needs of the 19th District. And we have built a majority in our House.
Yes.
No one is
Not
above the law.
Who is not above the law? Trump is not above the law. Who is not above the law?